What's up, guys? That really gross guy here. We are back in Warframe because I wanted to talk to you guys about something from Tenno Live that some of you guys may be super excited about, and some of you may be wondering, how is this not going to break the game, or how is this going to function without, completely changing the meta? And I feel like those are really, really important kind of topics to talk about before something happens in the game that we really can't go back on. I feel like this is an important topic because a lot could change over something that seems very, very simple. This ability to swap abilities, this mechanic to swap abilities from one Warframe to another, of course, it being only one ability that's pre-designated from every Warframe. There's only so much that can be done with that, but at the same time, if they pick the wrong abilities, first of all, this could change everything. If they pick abilities that we don't want, some of these are just going to be useless. I'm just going to go out there and say it. Some of these are going to be useless. I'm never putting, say, Fireball from Ember on anybody. Nobody. No one's going to get that ability. Frost, his first ability, his like ice casty spell, nobody's going to get that. I'm never putting that anywhere for any reason. I would way rather pick something else. And there's also other things where, how is this? What if Anaros, for example, Anaros is super tanky boy. You can run to the bathroom real quick and just leave your game running, come back and be fine. Like, you know what I mean? What's to happen if they pick an ability that makes Anaros that much more powerful? Let's say, for instance, Rhino's ability, instead of being like Rhino Charge, ends up being his Iron Skin. Then not only do you have Anaros, the super tanky, invincible frame already, but then you give him Iron Skin on top of that. I might as well not even play the game anymore. Like, it's just gonna walk away, eat dinner, go to bed, wake up the next morning, and finish my whatever mission I was on if I wanted to, or let somebody else take care of it. Could you imagine running like a survival or something that you need to do and just be like, you know what, guys, I'm gonna go away for a while, seeing as I'm in Aros. You guys just take care of this for the next hour or two. I'll come back, help you, with the survival. All four players become Anaros. Three of them work. Everyone alternates and makes a 100-hour survival run. I don't know. Anyways, let's get off of that little tangent. I feel like there definitely are some frames that deserve pointing out that they're already really, really good. They're already insane. And what do we do about this? If Necros, he's already got. I mean, where I'm going with Necros is fantastic. He's a very great frame for kind of holding his own, because especially in things like survival, his ability to continually have loot and then grab those health orbs and keep his energy up using whatever means, maybe pizzas, whatever, but keep himself going. He's a pretty solid frame, but he does have weaknesses. Every frame has some sort of weakness. Some, like Anaros, pretty much isn't weak to anything, but you know what I mean. Necros doesn't necessarily have an all-powerful nuking ability or something like that. He is more of like a self-sustaining kind of Warframe. So if you were to take away, say, his Soul Punch and give him something that takes away his one weakness, then now you have a frame that can do it all. Why pick anyone else? So let's say his one ability, his Soul Punch, you don't like. You take it off. You give him something that can do a really good amount of area of effect damage or something like that. And now, instead of you having to be a run and gun Necros, you can basically keep yourself alive and nuke everything in the room over and over again with, say, pull. Even as simple as pull, being able to do, those, because his efficiency is so good or whatever, that Necros just becomes a walking do-it-yourself tank that can get through you anything in the game. I don't know. Hildren, for example, amazing frame. You build her properly, she can do everything in the game with pretty easily. What happens if you take a frame that is already fantastic and make them that much better? You know, there's going to be a problem there. What happens if you take a Warframe who is really is focused on a very specific type of task, and you take that role away from them? Let's say Ivara or Loki, their ability they can give away is their invisibility. Then why wouldn't I run an invisible Mesa all the time? Just destroying content, just... Could you imagine being able to Peacemaker while invisible at all times? You know what I mean? Like, game over. Game over. So, I don't know. There's also some other small tidbits that's like, okay, you said no signature abilities. What about Garuda? I'm going to put some little visuals up here for you guys to check out. What about Garuda? Her Dread Mirror, very signature. Rip the life force, creates the shield. She's all about gore. She's all about that bloody type stuff. That's pretty signature, right? Her Blood Altar, absolutely signature. There's no way this is getting on another frame. It literally, her talon, one of her spike things, comes up from the floor, pierces an enemy, and then it becomes a healing area. That's very her. Bloodletting is the only one that maybe would end up on another Warframe. Garuda sacrifices her health to generate energy. However, with the current stats, you lose 50% of your HP to restore 35% of your energy. You could have, say, a Trinity able to cast Blessing over and over and over and over and over and over again just by hitting Bloodletting, Blessing, Bloodletting, Blessing over and over and over again. Everybody in your party stays alive for all time. That, game breaking. There's a reason why Trinity is not supposed to be able to just restore her energy in just a few seconds. She already kind of does, because obviously her ability to restore energy is a thing. But let's just say she could do it at the push of a button. You put this on and you just hit, 1 and 4, 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 and everybody in your party has 100% HP all the time. You could run missions for hours. You could run survival for 100 hours and just hit 1 and 4, 1 and 4, 1 and 4. I don't know. And then, of course, Seeking Talons. No, nobody's getting that. That's ultimate, and it's a signature. So maybe passives. If they do decide passives are a thing, maybe some of these Warframes can only give away passives, but I don't know about that. I don't think passives are included. If they are... even some passives are super OP. We'll go back and say Inaros. Let's say because of Inaros' passive, while in Bleed Out, Inaros becomes entombed in Protective Sarcophagus. He can revive himself by draining the life force of nearby enemies. What if you basically have Warframes that can just revive themselves at will, we'll say. You could have Vauban cast his vortex, which is a Bastille, and then turns into vortex, whatever. And then because he knows he's about to die, well, then he pulls all those enemies towards him, or he has the pull ability, pulls all those enemies towards him, and then when he goes in the sarcophagus, needs health restores. You've got 10 enemies now pulled close to you. You immediately revive like that. I don't know. Maybe it's a tactical mechanic, but like I said, this could also be game breaking. It could also make you decide, why would I run Gara? Why would I run Ember? Why would I run Revenant? Why would I run some of these other Warframes that are like, yeah, they have a purpose, and I do like playing them, but I play them when I want to have fun, or they have a specific role. You play a Trinity because you're trying to play a specific role in a party. You're trying to play Mag or Harrow or whatever, because you're trying to play a specific role in the party, and someone else fills that goal. If you were able to restore health because of some ability that is now able to be given to any other frame, you now have these frames that can heal that no longer have a purpose. I don't know. Like I said earlier with the Loki example, if you have other frames that can go invisible, why use the ones that are only good at being invisible? So, I don't know. I think there was another example of a really good frame that is very signature. Oh, Limbo is another good example. Um, his whole kit is all about, the void in stasis and all of that stuff. That's crazy. The other thing is, if you make Banish the one ability that you can trade to all other all other Warframes, you're gonna have lots of trolls. You're gonna have Excaliburs who have Banish, banishing their allies, and nobody can figure out who the hell is banishing everybody. You know what I mean? So you could be banished over and over and over again. Look around and go, nobody in my party is is a Limbo, so I don't know who's doing this to me. You know what I mean? Who else? Gara is another good example of a frame who's just very signature. While her ice or her glass spike, shattered lash, is technically something that could maybe go to another frame. It is about glass. It's a glassy spike, but her splinter storm, there's no way. Her spectrophage mirrors, no way, and her ultimate mass vitrified, no way. Nobody's gonna get those abilities. They're all too signature. Oh, Equinox, another perfect example of a frame you cannot take a power from. A metamorphosis, number one, two different versions of a frame. This isn't, I don't know. I guess you can maybe pull some strings and make this work, where you get a buff if you hit this, and then you get a different buff if you hit this. I don't know. But Rest and Rage has a night form ability and it has a day form ability. You don't have that. Pacify and Provoke has a night form and a day form ability. It doesn't work. Mend and Maim, night form, day form, doesn't work. Grendel, another good example. His Feast, his ability to eat people, number one, very signature. Number two, who are you gonna give that to? Secondly, Nourish requires his Feast. So, you can't really use two without his one. Regurgitate, you can't use his three without his one. Number four, Pulverize, the giant boulder rolly up thing, number one, and ultimate. Number two, signature. Doesn't work. I don't know. I think what I'll do, instead of just poking at a lot of these frames, Wukong, number one, geez. If you could get me a Celestial Twin on any other Warframe, it's game over. If you could get me the Hall of Mirrors from Mirage, so she now has 5 of herself, well, four duplicates on any other frame, it's game over. Having Hall of Mirrors on Mesa, game over. Having Hall of Mirrors on, I don't know, anybody. It's pretty much anyone who can do significant AoE damage on Protea. Imagine using Hall of Mirrors and then throwing those balls out that do shrapnel damage. Could wipe out an entire room using 25 energy. Or those turrets, imagine having 5 of those go with a button press. Game over. Number one, the point is, some frames just you can't take powers from. Some frames will no longer be useful if you take away the one good power they're good at. Some frames will become so overpowered and crazy that it's, I want to think about and consider some resolutions for all this. So, what if instead of being able to trade powers from Warframe to Warframe, what if we did this? What if you sacrifice a Warframe and you take a signature stat or kind of something that Warframe is capable of, and you are able to transfer that over to another Warframe. For instance, let's say you sacrifice a Rhino, and Rhino is typically a Warframe that has high armor, maybe high health, whatever. You take some of their key focuses, and when you transfer that currency, whatever type of currency these would be, then whatever Warframe you put these on gets that stat buff. So for instance, like I said, maybe Rhino or Valkyr with their high armor, you could transfer over to, whoever, your Excalibur, and he ends up getting increased base stats of his armor. Or you do someone who is high in energy, anybody really, then you could get a higher energy pool or a health pool. Ember, good example, someone maybe you would kind of be more on abilities, so maybe ability strength. So then you start out with an Excalibur that has a 5% additional base stat to their ability strength. That could be not game breaking, but beneficial, especially if you could have several of these on one Warframe. Let's say you can put 10 of these bonuses on a single Warframe. You could then maybe set up an Excalibur, or let's actually take someone who's actually pretty vulnerable to damage. Let's say you were to take, what was it, Meg? What's her armor? Her base armor is pretty low from what I remember. Oh no, she's like 125. There's Nova. Nova's is 100. Anyways, let's say you have a low armored Warframe. You have Nova with 100 armor, and you're like, man, I really love Nova, and her kit's really good, but I'd like her to be that much better for this end game content, but she just dies too quick. What you would do is sacrifice, maybe multiple rhinos. I don't know. I really don't want this to get too grindy, but let's say you sacrifice certain frames. Maybe there's like 10 different frames that give you armor. There's like 10 different frames that give you health, or each Warframe gives you a small percentage of all their stats. Let's say, but let's just say for the sake of argument, you have a Nova. You want her to be a little bit tankier. You could then take those souls, that currency, bring them over, put them on Nova. Say you put five to 10 of these on Nova, then you can make her a bit tankier. Nothing that's going to completely break the game, but she becomes a little bit more tanky. Or, like I said, maybe it's across all their stats. So instead of giving them, 10 extra armor, per soul, what if you do this and it's only like, I don't know, a little bit of each of their base stats. So you put it on Nova and you use the Rhino, you're going to get a little armor and a little health and maybe a little shield, or maybe there's even weaknesses. So you take a Rhino soul and you imbue it in a Nova. She's going to get extra armor and health, but she's going to get lower sprint speed because Rhino's typically slower. Something like that. Or like I said, you take like an Ember, maybe a energy strength, or maybe energy total, or high level of energy. You put that on a Nova, and now you get energy strength and energy pool. So you're just boosting her good stats, you know what I mean? Or you could boost their weaknesses. That's one thought, is being able to just increase the base level stats of all your frames using your other Warframes, the ones you sacrifice. Now, let's consider this. Let's say you're like, no, that's no good. I want abilities. I want to be able to put abilities or take abilities from other Warframes, and I want to be able to use them on my kit. What if instead of taking away, Excalibur Slash Dash or Necros' Soul Punch, what if instead your operator got an extra ability? Let's say you wanted to take Meg's Pull, but you didn't want to put it on your Warframe because you already like his kit, or just for whatever reason, or for instance, you can't trade them between Warframes. Let's say your operator gets the ability to pull, then number one, your operator becomes more powerful, and number two, that ability is still usable. You would just have to toggle between you and your Warframe. So, for instance, your super powerful buffs put on your already super powerful frame may not be as useful, or at least you have to be more tactical with it. Or maybe just because you use it as an operator, that buff doesn't transfer over to your Warframe. So, what I'm getting at is we could technically give our operators more of a purpose. I don't know. That's just a thought. Maybe maybe your operator gets a 1 through 4 as well, and you could potentially build abilities onto your operator. I don't know. That's just a thought. If your operator was able to use, let's say, invisibility, he already kind of has that when you do your little cloaky thing. But let's say you give your operator the ability to fireball or pull, or banish. No, I don't know about banish. Anyways, you give your operator some buffs, which makes your operator that much more useful. I don't know. That's just a thought. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Is there something I'm not thinking of? Is there a certain way this could be done without breaking the game? Are there certain abilities that you think, are just let me know. Is there an ability you think is just way too powerful that you think they might include on a certain frame? Of course, like I said, ultimates are off limits and signatures are off limits, but like I was saying, if you were to put something like invisibility on a Mesa, wouldn't that be the most absurd thing in the world? Or Hall of Mirrors on a Mesa? Impossible. You know what I mean? So I'm curious. I want to know what you guys think. Number one, about the whole ability swapping thing. Number two, is there a good resolution for this so that the game doesn't become broken, or a certain Warframe doesn't become too broken? Or am I just speaking nonsense and you just want to have the most powerful and glorious, Warframe in the world because it's, it's lost all its weaknesses? Anyways, but I think that's going to be it for me. Video is running a little bit long, but I felt like this is a very, very, very important topic because the future of Warframe, if the power spike gets up so absurd, we're gonna need more challenge. We're gonna have more people complaining about the difficulty in Warframe because content's already, I don't want to say easy. We did get the steel path, but could you imagine if the steel path was now easy because Uranaros had the ability to just breeze through it? I don't know. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm really interested in reading your guys' feedback and striking up some conversations down below. So greatly appreciated if you wanted to respond. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope to see you guys again in the next episode. Hello.